Hi everyone, my name is Alice Dillon and I'm the Associate Director of ArtsWorcester, and thank you so much for joining us for today's Artist Talk. Today we're going to be talking about Joan Ryan's latest exhibition, Mythbusters, which is on view at ArtsWorcester physically and online, artsworcester.org, starting November 18th and closing December 19th. Today we have a Clark University senior, Sylvie Hack, who will be interviewing Joan. So thanks again for joining and enjoy the talk.
Hello, I'm Sylvie Hack. I am a senior at Clark University, and last year I interviewed and worked with Joan, and I wrote an artist spotlight that will be appearing in Worcester Magazine. Today we are here to talk about Joan's charcoal body of work. Could you please give us a brief overview of your exhibition?
This is a series of 9 drawings that I've done over, I would say, 2 years, although one was done 3 years ago for an exhibition in Berlin. So that was the start of this series. I named that first painting that went to Berlin Mythbusters. The theme of the show was about reality. And so that's what started this whole process of all these drawings.
The scale of these drawings are so impressive. Why was working large important to you?
I personally like working large. I think it goes well with the way I approach the medium. I don't like a lot of detail. And so when you're working large, I feel that the form comes across better with less detail. My subject matter has a lot of sentimental association, and if the images are small and there's something sentimental inside them, I feel that the message isn't as strong. So if you see, like I have a young girl and it's small, it evokes something personal, sentimental, or sweet. And that's not what I'm trying to carry across with these images. So I prefer the children large, images large, so that they carry across a different impact than what we might perceive the image as. The scale changes with each figure. It's not linear perspective, so what it does is it moves the space, and there's like a disconnect to reality because of the various scale within the work.
You mentioned sentimentality. I was wondering if you can speak more to that.
Well, in a lot of the work, I use images from childhood poems, images from books. We have Dr. Seuss there, and so that brings in a little bit of the nostalgia for childhood, which for me, that carries across as innocence or naivety. And so the sentimentality, I hope, is brought through the use of images that relate to rhymes or poems or books or that narrative. In terms of layers, what I was thinking of was moving in to the work and then being able to move out into this space. So that's why the idea of the stenciling the wall. And then the stencil on the wall is repeated in the images, and then within there are pockets or holes. And what I was thinking of was when you walk through a building, an older building, sometimes you can see like down a hall or, a broken window, and how all those spaces put you in relationship to the room you're in. So I repeating of the pattern in and out, repeating of dark shapes, both in the drawing and then out of the drawing. So it's like a physical movement is what I was trying to capture. The image of the child observing, and then the image of the building crumbling. What I wanted to do was have an event happening, and then the figures around, in this area, the figures around the event seem oblivious to the destruction, but the figures outside are watching what's happening and listening or observing everything that's going on inside. So I think that's part of the idea of layering, that there isn't one linear story. There's not like one thought here. It's things happening, interaction with the figure, and then as you move out, there's another layer of figures reacting to what's happening inside. When I start a piece, I don't have a linear story. I don't have the idea, oh, this is about the destruction of our culture. What gets me thinking is when I combine two unlike images. So the man listening, the can to the wall, and say Dr. Seuss. And when I start, I'll just draw two objects on a big white piece of white paper. And then as I'm drawing them, that's when the ideas of how to connect, or when the meaning, if there's a meaning that I think that like odd juxtaposition could address, that's when I begin to fill it out. And as I think about the pieces and the images and the characters, that's when I begin to connect it through a landscape or some other element. But it's not a story that I have in mind. I just drew the young child, and I think I drew the nude figures, or figures from an old Playboy magazine. So innocence and distortion of innocence. And then that's the thought that began to fill in the whole drawing. So, but it's a little random in the beginning.
Awesome. What's next for you?
Smaller pieces of work. These are so large, and yeah, they were challenging, definitely, to do this many pieces this large and have it cohesive. The 3D work that is included here is a first step for me. So what I see is somehow incorporating that 3D silhouette in the work, and maybe playing in a much different way with the idea of a silhouette or a black shape. So, you know, technically there's a lot more to do, but hopefully they'll be smaller.